everyone. Welcome back to Soccer Showdown. Joe Archino and Martino Puccio back here. And we have a very busy show, so let's get right into things. It is crunch time for the U.S. men's national team as they have 2 qualification games remaining. If they win these next 2 qualification games, they are pretty much guaranteed a spot in the 2018 World Cup. So all eyes are on Team USA as they prepare for a match on Friday against Panama. It is in Orlando, so on friendly ground. But obviously, Martino, it's been certainly an up and down period for the U.S. men's national team. They get a late draw against Honduras just a few weeks ago, and we were sitting here talking about the difficulties that the team has been experiencing. So some time has passed. The team has refreshed a little bit. Now they have a big challenge in front of them, but I think Tim Howard certainly spoke to reporters. He said he pretty much expects nothing less than the USA to be in the 2018 World Cup. So he is confident. Many of the players on Team USA are confident. But Martino, we want to know from you, are you confident in Team USA winning these next 2 matches?
I think you can be confident in them winning these next 2 matches. I mean, they're already in a guaranteed spot as of right now. They already played the strongest teams possible. They don't have to play Costa Rica or Mexico anymore, so they got that stuff out of the way. So, I mean, it's just taking care of business against Panama here tomorrow, and then they got Trinidad and Tobago. I think that's going to be an away fixture. So I think that's something that they should be able to take care of. But they really got to worry about who you mentioned, Tim Howard, in goal, or if they go with Brad Guzan as well, because they've been shaky, the both of them. And then even looking at the defense as well, I think if John Brooks is going to be playing tomorrow, that's a huge upgrade because Tim Ream just couldn't handle it, and they were getting under too much pressure in those games against Costa Rica and Honduras. So I think that's something they need to work on as well. But I think this is going to be a team that's going to be going to the World Cup. But in terms of them playing well in the World Cup, I think that's a totally different story and conversation.
Punch your ticket to the World Cup for Team USA. How will they play there? Well, we will have to wait and see. But the next story that we have is a very puzzling headline when I saw it. Barcelona to the Premier League. And I want to put a question mark after that because certainly that is what it has to be. Obviously, right now, Spain is going through a very difficult period with Catalonia and with Catalan kind of going through an independence move where Catalonia, basically most of the country, has voted for independence. Spain's government does not want it to happen. The last match we saw Barcelona play was at an empty Camp Nou. And Martino, you and I were talking about that before the show, how that just felt so strange. And basically, Barcelona's president said that the club would consider playing outside of Spain if the independence referendum, if the Catalonia gains independence. So I think the question that so many people are asking kind of from a hypothetical standpoint, because again, that's all we can do at this point, is where would Barcelona rank in the Premier League? How would Messi play in the Premier League? Because look, we all understand how good Messi is, but I think everyone kind of always wants to know if he would have as much success in the Premier League as he's had in La Liga.
I think it's one of the dumbest questions ever. Not like to you, because it's the people that actually come up with this crap. I don't know where they get this from, because Fernando Torres can go out and score a bunch of goals in the Premier League, but somehow one of the greatest players of all time might have trouble scoring. So I find that very difficult and pretty stupid, to say the least. I mean, he does well against them in Champions League finals against Manchester United, a Premier League team. So he wouldn't have any problem struggling, but to see them even in the Premier League would be very strange to begin with. I think it would be something that we've never seen in sports in general. The political side from it, I don't know anything enough. I don't know enough about that subject to comment on it. But the best players can play anywhere. We say that all the time. It doesn't matter what league, what surface they play on, what kind of weather it's like that day. The best are the best, and they can play anywhere, anytime, anyplace.
Well, you talk about another great player who's playing just on a different level right now. That is Kevin De Bruyne of Manchester City. And Manchester City, I mean, I just have to give you the numbers because it just speaks to how dominant they've been. Across their last 7 matches in all competitions, they have scored 25 goals and only conceded 1 goal. That kind of comes into final fruition after they defeat Chelsea 1-0. Kevin De Bruyne nets the winner in basically the 67th minute. It was his first goal of the season, and his manager, Pep Guardiola, had the highest praise for him after the match. He said, quote, "He can do absolutely everything. It's not easy to find that with this kind of talent," end quote. And obviously, Martino, there's just so much talent, top to bottom, on this Manchester City club. but is Kevin De Bruyne the most important player on City?
I would say no, but he probably is their most talented one. I think importance would be one of their defenders. You could like look to Vincent Kompany or even Otamendi at the back line. I'm not saying they're better players, but the stat you mentioned, they've only conceded 1 goal. What has been their problem these past couple seasons has been their defense. So the fact that they're playing well on defense and nobody's been able to beat them so far, and I mean they're not just beating teams, they're really destroying them. I mean, a 1-0 win in Stamford Bridge is saying something, but they were without Aguero in that match as well. So I think they're doing a really good job playing on defense. But Kevin De Bruyne, man, I mean, what can you say? He was a Chelsea. He was sold from Chelsea, and now he's at Man City, and he's scoring on them in the Premier League and doing everything he can to give them the 3 points and have them move forward. But I think he is their most talented player, maybe not their most valuable.
Kevin De Bruyne on fire in Man City, as good as it gets right now. We have not gone to Italian Serie A in a while, so of course, let's give them the attention that they so interestingly deserve. Now, right now, Martino, Napoli is at the top in Serie A. They have been perfect, 7 wins from 7 matches this season. Juventus and Inter Milan right behind them with 6 wins, 1 draw each. But I think right now, obviously Paulo Dybala has been the best player in the league, but obviously Napoli has been the best club in the league so far. So all of us are always asking the same question every season because Juventus has had such a firm grasp over this league. Is it finally time where someone surpasses Juventus? Is this Napoli's year where they're just going to run through it?
Run through it's a little generous, but yeah, I think they definitely have the talent to do it. I mean, they had injury problems last year, and the second they figured out that Mertens can play up as a false 9, as a striker, and score that many goals, I think they were looking unstoppable. I mean, there was always question marks on the defense as well, but we talked about how Juve's been struggling on defense anyways. They let up the 3 goals against Barcelona when they only let up 3 in the Champions League from the group stage up until the final last year. So you knew they were struggling there. There was problems in the midfield. They can't stay healthy. Whereas Napoli have so much depth. They have younger players as well that could play at top level. I think Insigne is closer to Paulo Dybala than any other player is to Mertens at this point because Higuain, I mean, you pay 90 million euros for the guy, and he's not playing to the level that Mertens is. I mean, they get production all around. It's not just one guy where it just seems that's been the case with Juve. So I think they really can do this. It's just about picking up those 3 points against those lower-sided clubs because they're able to play and beat teams like Juve and Inter and Roma. So I think they're going to be on their way to a title for the first time since the 80s if they're just able to take care of those teams like that.
There is a lot happening in the world of soccer right now, but as always, we try to cover it for you the best way we can here on Soccer Showdown. That is going to do it for this episode. As always, Joe Archino and Martino Puccio here, and we'll catch everybody in the next episode.